Grr, arg.
Welcome to the Mixtape Podcast, a podcast where we review movies from a screenwriter's perspective. Up this week, we are reviewing my favorite installment of the Indiana Jones trilogy. And yes, I do call it a trilogy because I don't put the other films in this. I'm sorry if you like them, but they're not a part of the original trilogy. And my favorite Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, released in 1984, directed by the one and only Steven Spielberg, written by Willard Huyck. Wait a minute, Huyck. Sorry, that's difficult spelling. Sorry, Willard. And Gloria Katz. Marcelo, what is your favorite installment of the Indiana Jones movies? And yes, you can include the new ones.
My favorite installment of the Indiana Jones franchise is actually The Last Crusade, because I really love the relationship that Indy has with his father in that movie, and that is actually the Indiana Jones film that I've seen the most, followed by this one. But yeah, my favorite Indiana Jones movie is Indiana Jones and Last Crusade.
I mean, they're all good. The Last Crusade is my mum's favorite one as well. They're all good. I have a special place in my heart for this one, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I mean, come on. This one is great. Kalima, Shakti, come on.
It's so brutal. Like, how did my mum let me watch this when I was like young? Like, I must have been like at least like 8 or 9. She's like, Indiana Jones, that's really cute. Yeah, you can watch this. And it's like someone like pulling a heart out of a chest, burning people alive. And I'm like, this is amazing. That's probably why I'm so fucking morbid. Because I was like, Halima, my whole life. Damn.
But also, my parents, when I was like 8 or 9, they actually let me watch Jaws, and that's horrifying.
Yeah, parents don't know. They go, "Oh, look, there's a shark. It'll be fine. It's a kids' movie," and it's like, yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's get into it. If you don't know what Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is, it is this. Indiana Jones is tasked with reclaiming a rock stolen from a village by a secret cult. So the opening scene, we're in Shanghai, it's 1935, and we're at dinner and a show. And we meet Willie, who is my personal favorite character. And that is why I love this movie, because of Willie. She fucking makes the movie for me. And she's in the show as a singer. Indy shows up to meet a crime boss he's made a deal with. So Willie sits down with them, and like there's this back and forth that happens, and the crime boss poisons Indy's drink, chaos ensues, and Indy is trying to get the antidote, which is being flung all around. There's like people running around everywhere because there's shots being fired. Finally, Willie picks it up, and they both fall out a window into a car, and then we meet Short Round, who is another one of my favorite characters. He's a kid, and he's driving the car. And there's a car chase that ensues, and Indy this is the first funny thing that happens. Indy hands Willie his gun, and she immediately throws it out the window. He turns and he goes, "Where's my gun?" And she's like, "I cracked a nail." And I'm like, oh my God. Like, she's so superficial. She doesn't even realize her life is in danger. She just cares about her nails. So they end up getting to the docks, chased by the crime boss. Indy, Willie, and Short Round board a seaplane, and the crime boss gets there just in the nick of time, and Indy sees him and he smiles and he says, "Nice try, Lao She." Then closes the plane door, and on the plane door, it says Lao She. And the crime boss laughs. So you know that there's going to be a problem. But I want to ask you a question before you answer. Do you know what the name of the club is that they're in?
No, I do not. I don't.
I only found this out right now, and I've seen this movie so many times. The club that they're in is called Club Obi-Wan.
Huh?
Swear to
What?
God. It's on when they for anybody that goes bullshit, when they jump in the car, when they speed off, pause it, you get a shot of the front of the club, and in big neon lights it says Club Obi-Wan.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
What a
that's
throwback
amazing.
to George Lucas.
That's amazing. That is simply amazing.
Thoughts on the scene?
Yeah, I loved the opening to Temple of Doom because, as you guys know, I'm a giant song and dance man, and having this movie open up with a musical number by Mrs. Spielberg is simply amazing. But I feel that this opening scene really settles in the audience into the Indiana Jones world, basically starting off with a cold open adventure. It's a really really interesting way to reintroduce the hero of Indiana Jones and introduce the heroine that he's going to be escorting throughout the rest of the movie. And fun fact, it took me years to figure out that this movie actually takes place before the first film.
I literally only found that out like when I was doing my research. Because I didn't like how would I don't know, as a kid, like how would I
Today?
know that? Yeah, like 2 days ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like why would I know? I don't know date. I
What?
don't know. I have not seen Raiders as much as I've seen Temple of Doom. So like the dates and stuff, I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved Short Round because Short Round was my substitute for a character that I could relate to, that could actually go on an adventure with Indiana Jones. So,
Mhm.
Short Round throughout this whole movie is my favorite character, but also Willie is actually a wonderful character because throughout the course of the movie, she goes from this naive lounge singer and she becomes this confident person throughout when it comes to the things that she deals with throughout the film.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly, exactly. You're right. And you know what? As a kid and even now, the opening scene I never liked because I'm not a song and dance person. And I'm like, get to the archaeological stuff, get to the fun stuff, get to the whip, get to the gun, get to the like finding shit. So I would always fast through the opening scene because I was like, no, 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 I don't care. I really actually don't care. Here's where the movie really starts for me. So they're in the plane. They're in the plane and flying when Indy changes into his like signature outfit. And Willie looks at him and says, "What are you supposed to be? A lion tamer?" And she goes, "You know, ever since you saw me, you haven't been able to take your eyes off of me." And Indy goes, "Oh, yeah." And then he puts his hat over his eyes, basically to say, "Fuck you, I'm going to sleep." And just in that small banter, you can see the relationship they're going to have throughout the whole movie. It's just like, I hate you. No, I hate you. Oh, you think this? No, I think this. Like, it's fantastic sexual chemistry that they have. So the pilots working for the crime boss then parachute from the plane. Willie notices and then grabs Indy. Indy grabs the emergency life raft and they all jump out of the plane. And the life raft inflates in the air, which I always thought was really cool when I was a kid. And it lands on the mountain and it slides down and then falls off a cliff into the river rapids. And Willie is so pissed. She's just like, I hate water, I hate being wet, and I hate you. Like most of the things she does in this movie, I'm like, that's me. I'm not break a nail, so like not all of it, but a lot of it is like I hate it when people get me in situations I don't want to be in, and I just act like fuck you. Why have you done this to me? And I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the chemistry between Indiana Jones and Willie on the plane is phenomenal, and that really gives you a taste of how their relationship is going to be for the rest of the film. And I love the moment when Lauche's guys jump out of the plane and Willie gets Indiana Jones to wake up. And when Indiana Jones goes to short round, he goes, "Short round, are there any more parachutes?" And he goes, and short round goes to the back of the plane and he says, "Indy, no more parachutes, no more parachutes." It's just a really, really great scene. And the entire sequence with them jumping out of the plane and using the raft to save themselves is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. But that line that Dean mentioned when they jump into the river and they get all wet and Willie's like, "I hate water, I hate getting wet and I hate you." It's so good. So good. I cannot stress how fucking good that line is. It's absolutely amazing.
What they've done with her character, and I love it when they do this with characters, is they take a character from their natural environment and they put them in an environment completely opposite to what they're used to, and they just see how it runs. And
Yeah.
that's what they've done with Willie.
Yeah, yeah, and also by doing that, you allow the character to grow. You allow the character to grow from a character's perspective by putting her up against the wall in situations that she's not used to being in. So it's
Mm.
just a wonderful exercise to see how the character and the individual is going to react in those said situations.
Agree, agree. So they float down the side of the river, and a tribesman finds them, and they're in India. And he brings them back to the village. And there's just this funny scene where they're sitting down and to eat some food, and the tribespeople give Willie the food, and she looks at it and it just looks like baby food spew. And she's like, "No, thank you." And Indy's like, "You're insulting them." And she's like, "I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat that." And I'm like, "Oh, dear God, that's me." And he's like, "You have to eat it, otherwise you're insulting them." And then she puts it in her mouth, and Indy's watching her. And it's just, again, it's the dynamic between them of he just wants to see her squirm. He wants to see her uncomfortable. And that's just so fucking hilarious to me. Anyway, one of the elders tells Indy he needs to go to Pankot Palace as it's been taken over by dark forces. And they came to their village and took a sacred stone that protects the village. And they also stole all the village children. And Shiva has brought you here to rescue us, to save us, to get the stone back.
They stole the the Shankara stones. Those are the stones.
Yes.
But listen, I love the scene with Indy, Short Round, and Willie in the tent once they come across the tribe, because it's a wonderful scene. Because again, they take in a proper stuck-up character like Willie and put her in a untenable situation, and they just like making fun of her. You know, it's absolutely fucking wonderful. And I also like the scene because from a writer's perspective, it lets the audience know what is going to be Indy's mission for the rest of the movie. It's a great way to give the audience exposition, but not make it feel like it's exposition that's getting forced down our throats. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to do it. Absolutely wonderful.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like he's got there, and then the tribesman, the elder, says that you have to do this, and that pushes him on his journey. Now, Indy doesn't want to do this. Indy wants to go to Delhi. He wants to get the fuck out of India. But the next scene, there's a little malnourished boy that approaches Indy and falls into his arms, handing him a piece of cloth with images and words on it. And we find out that this little boy escaped from Pankot Palace, and he tells them that there are other children there. So this makes Indy go, we have to go, we have to do something. So that's also the kind of pushes him into doing something that he didn't want to do in the previous scene. So I like that.
So, would you say that that little boy showing up back at his village is the sort of turning point for Indy to actually decide to go to Pankot Palace instead of New Delhi?
Yes. Yep.
I have always been under the impression that if the kid didn't show up, I think Indy would have still gone to Pankot Palace instead of New Delhi.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he would have. But we won't,
Okay,
we'll never
okay.
know. We'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know.
So the next day, Indy, Short Round, and Willie this is so funny. They get on elephants. Although Willie has a tough time getting on because she is like a showgirl in shows. She's wine, she's dined, she doesn't go near animals, she doesn't go near nature. She has a tough time getting on the elephant. And then inquires if there's a phone there that she can use to call her agent because she's just she doesn't she gets it, but she doesn't get it, right? So she's like, they must have a phone. Everybody has a phone. She's never encountered anything like this before. So on their journey, they're all on elephants trekking to Pankot Palace. On their way, Willie smells something and sprays her elephant with perfume. And because she just doesn't like the smell of animals because she's superficial, she's up herself. Well, the elephant at some point gets pissed off and then throws her off into a muddy puddle, and she just has a complete mental fucking breakdown. Like, I shouldn't be here. I'm wet again. Why are you doing this to me?
I was happy in Shanghai.
I was happy. I had everything I wanted, and now I'm here. And the thing is, there's nothing you can do about your situation. She's just crying, and Indy does not give two shits. Short Run doesn't give a shit. They're just like, whatever. Get up. Let's go. But I absolutely, because I would do that. I would 100% have a fucking breakdown. So thoughts?
Yeah, watching Willie go through her trials and tribulations as they go through the jungle on their way to Pankot Palace is absolutely wonderful. I love the moment when Willie smells her elephant for the first time and goes, "Ugh." And, and then like Dean said, she puts perfume on the elephant, but also another wonderful, wonderful moment on their way to Pancot Palace is when they actually take up camp for the evening, and Short Round and Indiana Jones are playing cards with Willie in the background. That that scene is absolute gold, but again, it's another way for the writers to show the audience how uncomfortable Willie is. And actually all the shit that she goes through in the first part of the movie really, really makes the audience understand how much she changes as she goes through the movie, because as she goes through the movie, she changes and she becomes a better character. She starts out as the damsel she starts out being the damsel in distress, but she becomes a more killable character by the end of the movie.
Do you think
It's
she
a it
changes? I don't think she
Yeah.
changes at all. I don't think
I
she has an arc.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's still superficial at the end. I think she's still the
Okay.
same.
Okay, because I really think that she has a bit of an arc, and she does come into her power just a little bit, because at the beginning of the film, she's a showgirl, she's a stuck-up bitch who only cares about herself, but as the movie goes on, she becomes a little bit more helpful.
Only because she has to be, not because she wants to be. Everything she does is because she's pushed to do it, not because she volunteers to do it.
Okay, but would you agree that in order to get someone to change, you have to push them first before they decide to walk the path themselves?
Yes, but we never saw her do anything where she wasn't pushed.
That's true. I'll take that.
But we're going through the movie, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll come up with a scene where we're wrong. But the scene we're talking about now is the camp scene, which is one of my favorite scenes. So they're camping, and Indian Short Round are playing cards. And Willie is in a towel, and she's running around screaming because she's getting attacked by a bat. And then she sees a monkey and screams. And then she sees a snake and screams. And then she comes face to face with everywhere she turns, there's a fucking animal. And she doesn't do animals, right? She's screaming, running back and forth. Meanwhile, Indian Short Round are playing cards, taking absolutely zero fucks about what's going on with Willie, because they're like, well, that's what she does. Nothing's actually happening because she's just fucking scared of a leaf falling from a tree. So they're just like, we don't care. We're just playing cards. And then she finally kneels in front of them and she's like, we're completely surrounded. Like it's some, villains coming in, right? When it's just the local wildlife and she doesn't want to fucking move. And then Indy shows Willie the piece of cloth that he got from the boy. And he says it's the story of a priest named Sankara who meets a Hindu god who gives him 5 sacred stones. And then while they're talking, there's a massive fucking snake that comes down like at the front of Willie. And she thinks it's the elephant because the elephant keeps annoying her. She keeps swatting away its trunk. And Indy sees that it's a snake, and we know he doesn't like snakes. So the snake comes down and she pulls the snake. She's like, I told you to stop, and just throws the snake away. And he's just like, runs away. And she's like, what? I just thought that was so ingenious.
My favorite thing about the camp scene is the fact that Willie is in the background jumping and screaming because she's being attacked by basically nature, but in the foreground, you have Indy and Short Round playing a game of cards, and I love their interaction, especially when Indy catches Short Round cheating at cards, and they have a physical argument over him having aces in his sleeves. I absolutely love it, but I also love the moment after everything calms down when Indiana Jones basically shows Willie the map that he found. And this is the screenplay writers, I feel, doubling down on the promise of the movie, or doubling down for those audience members that didn't really understand how important this legend is, and how this legend is going to play into the overarching story that we're going to see from here on forward. It's a great way to do subtle exposition, but to not make it feel
Hmm.
like you're being hit over the head with a fucking hammer. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So they arrive at Pankot Palace and are welcomed, and they dress Willie in this very expensive Indian clothing, and which she loves, and she inquires if the king has a queen. And then they go to the dinner table, and then we meet His Highness, and it's a kid. And Short Round looks at Willie and says, maybe he likes older women. She's just so fucking pissed off. And then they all sit down for another one of my favorite scenes for dinner. Willie is so hungry. And then a cooked snake is put in front of Willie. And she just thinks, she's just got this look of like disbelief, like, what the fuck is this? And then the snake is cut open. And then baby snakes come out all over the table. And she's like, oh my God. The next course is brought out and it's bugs. And they're all slurping the bugs. And Willie is like, yeah, no. So she asked the waiter, do you have something simple, like soup? He's like, yeah. Brings her the soup. She opens it up. She smells it. It's really nice. As soon as she puts her spoon in it, the eyeballs are in it. And she's just like, she looks a Short Round. She's like, can I have your hat? And he takes his hat off. And he's like, why? And she's like, because I'm going to puke. Oh my God. And then dessert is brought out. And it's monkey brains. And Willie just passes out, which is what I would do. I would pass the fuck out. While all this funny stuff is going on, Indy is asking about or inquiring about the stolen stones, to which they answer that they had nothing to do with stealing the stones whatsoever, and they know nothing about the missing children. So, yeah, that's another one of my favorite scenes with Willie. I just think it moves the story forward, but it's also funny.
The great thing about this film from a script perspective is it is really fucking balanced, because the comedy feeds into the script. The comedy that this movie has doesn't stop the script from moving forward. The comedy adds to the script and it makes it more funny. Like the dinner scene. My favorite line in this movie is, aren't you going to have dessert? And then he opens up the monkey head and he goes, monkey brains. It's just it's just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And the moment where I lost it is where Willie asked Short Round, can I have your hat? And he goes, why? Because I want to puke in it. It's just a wonderful fucking moment. It's absolutely wonderful. But while all this is happening, we never see Indiana Jones eat any of the shit
No.
that they're serving at the table.
But he's not even phased.
No, he's not. Yeah, I don't and the other thing that watching this movie today in preparation for this conversation, Willie is a gold digger. Willie has no idea what it's like to be loved by another person and loved by another person who appreciates her for who she is as an individual.
Yes. Yeah.
Because she's a gold digger. That's all she is.
Yeah. True. That's true.
Yeah.
So after the dinner, Indy visits Willie in her room. And she's pissed. And the whole movie, she's pissed off at him. And he says he has something for her. And she's so pissed off that she says, there's nothing in the world that you could have that I would want. And so he goes, okay. So he turns away and he takes a bite out of an apple, and her eyes just go, oh my God. She runs to him and she devours the apple, and he hasn't even let go of it yet. The apple's still in his hand. And then he hands her like a plate of fruit. She's like, oh my God, you're such a lovely man. And then they go into the room and then they kiss. And then she says, you'll never have better than me. And Indy says, well, we'll see in the morning. And then she gets pissed. She's like, what? She doesn't that's what I love about this. He always goes up against her. He always says something. She's got an ego, and then his ego comes in, and it's like the battle of the egos. And what ensues is just hilarious banter on who's going to crack first, because he leaves the room and she's like, you'll be back here in 5 minutes. And he's like, I don't think so. You'll be here in 5 minutes. And so they're in their room, like checking their clock, like making sure they look good, checking their breath. And it's just a really, really, really funny, hilarious scene. Thoughts?
Yeah, the scene where Indiana Jones brings Willie the plate of fruit is wonderful, but the thing that makes that scene great for me is the banter between Indiana Jones and Willie. Like Dean said, they're two super egos bumping up against each other, but I love the moment when Indiana Jones goes back to his room, and he's in his room, combing his hair, pacing back and forth, wondering if she's really going to show up, and he goes, she's not going to show up. And there's a moment when Willie comes out of her room and goes into the hallway and says, Indiana Jones, I'm the greatest adventure you could have ever had. It's so fucking great. I mean, seriously, the casting director for this movie did such a good job casting the actress who plays Willie. I mean, it's fan fucking tastic.
So anyway, Indy's waiting in his room when an assassin tries to kill him. So he's being strangled and he ends up killing the assassin, and he goes to Willie's room to search for the assassin, but she thinks he's come to like, oh, he's thought better of it, right? And he's looking around her room and she's like, I'm here. What are you doing? And he's like looking under the bed and in the cupboards, and she's like, I'm right here. What are you looking for? And he's just like going, fuck. He has no time to explain this to her. He's just like, okay, whatever. And then he checks this like statue and he pushes it forward and he finds a secret passageway. So that's kind of the second half of that scene. But I like that scene because every scene in this movie connects to the next scene in this movie. It doesn't not make sense.
Yeah, and listen, and that is the key to good storytelling. You want to have scenes that roll into one another. You don't want to have scenes that feel like they're stitched together because they have to be.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The I love Willie's reaction once Indy puts his hands on the column and he pushes and the trap door opens where that guy came in to strangle Indy. But her reaction when she jumps out of her skin is so great. It's so fucking great.
So the passageway. Indy and Short Round enter the passageway. Willie stays in the room. And they don't have like Short Round is like, what am I stepping on? Like it's crunchy. And then Indy lights a match and it's all like my biggest fucking nightmare. Just roaches and bugs and it's fucking gross. So anyway, they enter a room and Indy says to Short Round, just stand against the wall. Just stand against the wall and don't do anything. And he's like, okay. So he stands against the wall but accidentally leans against like a button, which closes the door, seals them in, and the ceiling slowly descends with spikes. And then Short Round starts going off at Indy going, you told me to stand against the wall. I stand against the wall. This is not my fault. Because he doesn't want to be blamed for something that he was told to do. It's like, it's exactly what a kid would do. That's what I like about Short Round. He's smart, but he's still a kid. And I love it. So anyway, this is another one of my favorite scenes. Indy yells for Willie, who is still in her room. So she steps into the passageway and she doesn't have a light. She's like, like, what is this? And she sees two dead skeletons and she screams and she's like, oh, I just don't want to do this. Indy's screaming at her. And then she gets to the door where he's screaming, like he's behind, and she lights a match and there's bugs everywhere. She freaks out. That is exactly what I would do. Like, I would be fucking out. I'm sorry, you're going to die. I can't do this. Then Indy tells her to put her hand in the hole to pull the lever. And she's like, oh, okay. And she looks in the hole and it's full of bugs and she's just refuses. She's like, oh, you do it. And he's like, we are going to die. You have to do it. She's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So Indy tells her they're going to die if she doesn't. So she does. And you just see her hand going in and the bugs are like everywhere. Oh my God, it's so gross. She pulls the lever and the door opens. And Indy's face is so pissed off at her. Like, it was like they were seconds away from dying because she just was so scared of the bug. She did not want to pull the lever. So his face he's pissed off. Short Round runs out of the room. Willie runs into the room screaming because there are bugs all over her. She backs up against the wall, pushes the button, and the doors start to close again. You're like, oh my fucking God. So they end up racing out of the room. And the doors close, but they're on the other side now. But it's another one of my favorite scenes because that is so me. I don't do bugs in any form. I can feel her anxiety in the scene. So anyway, thoughts.
When I was a kid, this scene really, like, first of all, it scared the crap out of me, but it really it made me feel disgusting because seeing Willie go through the passageway, stepping on all the bugs and all the shit, and once she gets to the door that Indiana and Short Round are behind, I love the moment when Indy actually reaches with his hand through the little hatch that Willie has to get to open the door, and he goes, "No, not this one, the other one."
I love that bit. The other one, the other one. I love it.
And and then she goes, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yes." Like, you come out here and you do it. And there's this really quick scene where he goes, "Willie, if you do not open it, we are going to die."
I love the shot of that Spielberg uses. It's
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah. And then she says, "Okay." It's just so great. The entire sequence is absolutely wonderful because it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Listen, and as an audience member, in the back of your or in the back of your heart, in the back of your soul, that Indiana Jones is not going to die. But the way that the scene is constructed, it's still terrifying because you still feel peril for your main characters.
Yeah, exactly. So they descend into the passageway and they make their way into these massive underground caverns, and they come across a ritual being performed, and Indy says they are worshipping Kali. Now, I researched who Kali was, just so you don't have to. So Kali is a Hindu goddess, and in the Hindu religion, she is the entity of time or death. So that was really interesting to me. So the cult leader, or the priest leader, comes out, and there's hundreds of people cheering, and he puts a guy in a cage, and then he chants, what does he chant, Marcelo?
Kalima Shakti Day! Kalima Shakti Day!
That's it. That's perfect. So
Yeah!
again, I used Google and I wanted to know the translation of what he's actually saying. So there you go, folks. So I'm Googling it so you don't have to. The translation of Kali Ma Shakti Day is, "Mother Kali, give me thy power." That is what he's saying. So the priest puts his hand on the guy's in the cage, his chest, and basically pulls out his heart. And then the guy's chest closes up, like it heals straight away. But the guy is still alive. And even Willie says, how can he still be alive? So the cage is closed and he's lowered into like this hot lava thing. And as soon as his body burns up, his heart starts to burn up as well. And the priest holds it high so people can see. And then we see the stolen stone from the village along with two other stones that the other guys put into like a skull thing, and they kind of start to light up. But I like that scene because it's brutal. It's brutal. But what it's showing, like in the story, is when he takes the heart out, the guy's still alive, yeah, but he can control the person by the heart because the body has to die and then the heart dies. You know what I mean? So he can control people by taking out their heart and controlling that. So I liked that. I liked it.
That scene as a kid terrified the shit out of me. That's why when I was a kid, when I was a really young kid, this was actually my least favorite Indiana Jones movie, and it became my most favorite Indiana Jones movie when I was like a teenager. But I also really like the scene because at this point, this movie has been really fun, adventurous with some scary parts, but I feel once Indy, Willie, and Short Round come across this temple and they see the ritual, the tone of the film changes. From funny adventure to fucking cult of death.
Yes.
And I fucking love it.
Yes.
I'm like, oh
You're
my
so
God.
right.
Are you kidding me?
You're so fucking right. It does.
This is so awesome. And as Polaram, that's the priest's name, is about to take out this poor guy's heart, he reaches his hand up to the sky, and then after he takes the guy's heart out, like Dean says, when the guy is being lowered into the pit of fire and he gets closer and closer to the fire, you see the heart burning up in his hand, and it's such a fucking cool visual. Oh my God, it's so cool. It's amazing.
It's so cool. So the cultists leave and Indy goes down to get the stones because that's what he's there for. He's there to get the stone. One of them, at least. When he hears screaming, so he goes a little bit deeper into the tunnels, into the caverns, and sees children being used as slaves to mine. So that's where all the children went from from the village. Willie and Short Round get captured. Then Indy gets captured, and Indy and Short Round are in a cage with two slave kids who tell them that when they make you drink the blood of Kali, we will be like the others, alive, but like a nightmare. So translation is they brainwash you. They give you some toxin, and when you drink the toxin, they say it's blood of Kali, but it's not. You turn into a mindless slave. But, as a kid, I watched this movie as a kid, and I'm like, oh, there are little kids working. Isn't that That's kind of fun? I didn't know they were slaves.
Are you
What
kidding me? Wait a minute.
saying?
Wait a second. Wait a minute. Hold it. Are you serious? You didn't know that they were slaves?
If I'm watching this when I was like 8, how the fuck do I know what a slave is? How do I know what
Oh
it
my
is?
God.
I'm like, oh, why are they there for? Like, I know they were captured. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't think it was
Okay.
Disneyland. But,
Oh my
this
God.
movie has so many adult themes. I don't even
Yeah,
know
it does.
why kids are watching it. I mean, I don't know why.
No, because this movie is wrapped up like an adventure movie. And this movie is full of comedic moments early on. So this movie is deceptive.
Mm. Yes.
This movie drags you in with candy and this movie drags you in with cotton candy and popcorn.
Yeah.
But then it serves you a healthy dose of death and Indian philosophy and
An
Indian
healthy
superstition.
dose of death.
Come on.
Oh, it is. It's like, come here, little girl. I have candy for you. Yay, candy. And then it's like pit of death. That's what this movie fucking is. Candy and then death. I love it. I love it. You're just jamming two
Yeah.
things together.
Yeah, it's just so cool. But listen, there is this great moment as Indy goes down and he gets one of the Shankara stones. Spielberg ships the camera back over to Willie and Short Round, and one of the guards scares the ever loving shit out of them. He jumps out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And as a kid, and even as an adult, that's the most annoying scare in film history to me. I can't stand it.
So the cult leader, the priest, tries to get Indy to drink the blood, Kali's blood, or whatever the fuck it is. He refuses. And then the little bitch kid king comes in with an Indy voodoo doll and puts it near the fire, and Indy starts screaming. And you're like, oh no. So Indy feels everything, and the little bitch starts poking the doll, and it's like a whole big thing. Eventually, he drinks the blood, and then he kind of convulses, and then he starts laughing. So you know that he's now completely brainwashed and completely taken over by whatever the fuck the toxin is, and you're like, oh no, this is bad.
Yeah, listen, that scene with Polarom trying to justify their actions to Indiana Jones is great, but also I love the scene when the little fucking king comes in with the voodoo doll, and with the voodoo doll he sort of tortures Indy, and that leads to him drinking the blood of Kali and becoming basically like a walking zombie. I think it's a really, really good way to sort of signify to the audience that although the tone of this movie has changed, none of your favorite characters are safe. Like when I was a kid, I actually thought that this movie wasn't going to end happy. I thought that Indy, Short Round, and Willie weren't going to get out of it. Like Spielberg and the writers do a really, really good job at switching the tone of this movie, like I mentioned before. And because they switched the tone, you actually really, really feel that your main characters are not going to get out of this and they're going to fucking die. It's a wonderful way to take what your audience expects of what your film is going to be and turn it on its head.
What I love about good writers is they put their characters in peril, but they make the audience think how they're going to get out of it. They can't get out of it. Like they've just, because I sit there and I'm like, how are they going to get out of this? That's the best form of writing, when your audience goes, there's no fucking way. And then the writer comes up with something out of their ass and they get out of it and you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's great writing. It's great writing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's absolutely great writing.
So we're back in the ritual cavern, just about to perform another lovely ritual, and oh no, the sacrifice is Willie, and Indy is completely brainwashed. Now, Willie is placed in the cage, just like the guy was before, and the priest performs the same ritual as before. What does he say, Marcelo?
Kalima Shapti Day! Kalimash!
I just like it when he says it. So
That's so good.
Indy chains Willie. So Willie is pleading with Indy, but Indy's totally brainwashed, and he chains Willie to the cage. and he closes the door and it begins to descend into the pit of lava. Meanwhile, Short Round, who was put in the mines, he wasn't brainwashed, but he escaped. He was chained, but he escapes to the ritual cavern and basically tries to wake Indy up, and nothing is waking Indy up. And then he gets like a fire torch and burns Indy with it, and that kind of snaps him out of it. And then Indy fights the guards, which is a cool scene, and rescues Willie. But it's funny because Willie goes down, she's about to hit the lava, and you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then she's brought back up, like Indy brings her back up, and then Indy has to fight another guard, and then it kind of drops the wheel, and then she goes back down, and she keeps going like up and down and up and down. You're like, shit, is she gonna die or not? But it's a really, really good kind of edge of your seat scene, performed beautifully by the actors, obviously, but also written well by the writers.
Yeah, this whole sequence of watching Willie get put into the contraption and be taken to the edge of death multiple times is absolutely wonderful. I mean, I love the moment as Willie is being put into the contraption, she's begging Indiana Jones to wake up. Indy, wake up! This is not you! Wake up! Wake up! And she spits in his fucking face. Like, it is so heartbreaking. It's so fucking well done. And seeing Short Round escape from where the rest of the kids are to come down to the main like ritual floor and then to fucking try and wake up Indy. And there's a moment when Short Round is basically hung over the pit and he goes, Indy, I love you. And it's after that where he grabs the poker and he goes, and and Indy wakes up. It's just a really, really, really great way to propel the story forward, and it's a great action sequence to bring our main characters together, so now they can escape. It's great it's great storytelling, and it's great layering as well. Because in the last scene, we were wondering, oh fuck, our characters are gonna die and they have no way out. But in this scene, the writers have came up with a macabre way for our main characters to get out of it and to survive. It's great writing.
It is. It is. So Indy, Willie, and Short Round basically rescue the kids being used as slaves, freeing them. Indy fights all the guards, and then he fights the last guard, which is like a bit of a tough one because he's a big dude. But the bitch king is doing the voodoo doll pokey thing again, and Indy is like not doing well. And then Short Round notices this, and he climbs up to where this bitch king is and beats the shit out of him, and then slightly burns him with a fire torch that's nearby, and it snaps out of it, so he stops doing the pokey thing. And Indy wins the fight. And then there's this really cool mine cart chase sequence. It's so cool, and it reminds me of a really cool indoor roller coaster we used to have here. That was you sat in a mine cart, and it was that. Oh my god, it was my favorite ride to go on. It was the best thing ever. But the scene is really, really cool. The mine cart chase is like one of my favorite chase sequences in the movie.
Yes, the minecart chase is the fucking best. It is one of the best action sequences in this film. My favorite action sequence is coming up in a little bit, but the minecart chase sequence is actually a scene that was supposed to go in Raiders, but they didn't have enough time, and they sort of ran out of time, so they just took that scene and they planted it into Temple of Doom. But it's an actual wonderful. It's a wonderful scene because you have Indiana Jones trying to escape, and you have the guards chasing him. And it's my favorite moment is when Short Round gets pulled between Indy's car and the bad guy's car, and you see like you see Short Round stretching in between two cars. It's a wonderful sequence.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic.
It's a great sequence.
So once they get out of that, there's this whole other thing. Once they get out of the mine carts, they're on the side of a cliff, and then water comes rushing out because water's chasing. Like, the writers have really thrown everything, including the kitchen sink, at the fucking characters.
Yeah, but they're not done because they have one other thing.
No, they're not fucking done yet. As if it wasn't bad enough, everything that's already happened, and then they're on the side of the cliff, and then the side of the cliff is so brittle, it starts to break off where they're standing, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! They can't catch a fucking break. Anyway, a little bit after that, they escape and they come to a bridge, a rickety bridge in between kind of two cliffs. And they have to cross. Now, Willie and Short Round cross first. Indy is being chased by guards. It's actually a really funny scene. Indy runs off camera, and then you see him running. The camera doesn't move, and then you see him running forward and with all these guards chasing him. Like, I think it was a really good choice for Steven Spielberg just to keep that shot stationary. So you don't know what's going on behind camera, but you do know because it comes into focus soon. Anyway, Indy's being chased by guards who basically trap him on the rickety bridge. He's in the middle. There are guards on either side of him. Willie and Short Round, like I said, have gotten to the other side, but they bump into the priest dude. How the priest dude got there, I don't know. I'm not asking questions because I like this movie. And Indy tells him to let her go or he'll drop the stones in the lake. But the priest doesn't care. He's like, drop them. We'll find them. I don't care. And Indy's like, shit. And then Indy, having no other option, looks at Short Round and he says something in Chinese. And he basically tells him to hold on. And of course, Short Round starts like holding on to the side of the thing, and then Willie has another breakdown. She's like, oh no, because she knows what he's about to do, and she's just like, fuck. So Indy ends up cutting the rope of the bridge, and it falls. Willie, Short Round, Indy, and the priest are all hanging on to the bit of the bridge that's still holding onto the side of the cliff, but all the other kind of guards die. Willie and Short Round climb up while Indy fights the priest, which is a really cool fight scene. It's a fight scene on the side of a cliff, holding on to like this rickety bridge. It's really cool. And again, it's so far up. You don't know. Are they going to fall? Is Willie going to fall? Maybe she's going to fall. We don't know. Is Indy going to fall? But is he going to survive? Like, you really don't know. He fights the priest. The priest falls to his death. And Indy climbs up, having saved one of the stones because he's Indiana Jones. And that was a really cool action sequence. Thoughts?
Yeah, the bridge sequence is actually one of my favorite sequences in film history. I love the moment when Indy realizes that he has no way out and he just signals to Short Round to fucking hold on. And I love when Polaram, that's the priest dude, realizes what he's gonna do. And he just has this look on his face going, no! And as the bridge breaks, it's a great practical effect because the prop house actually had to they actually blew up that bridge one time.
Oh.
They didn't have like multiple bridges. It was a stunt that could only work once, and whatever they were going to get, they got. So listen, the third act of this movie is great. I love the moment when the priest and Indy are on the edge of the cliff, and the priest is basically trying to take out Indy's heart, and Spielberg does a pan up to Short Round, and he goes, protect your heart. And I love the moment when Indy starts to talk about when Indy figures out how he's going to get out of the situation and how he's going to kill the priest, and he basically starts talking to Sheba, and the bag with the stones in it starts to light up, and he goes, you betrayed Sheba, and it's such a great way to fucking do it. It's such a fucking great way to beat the villain. And not to mention that in the river below there's alligators, folks.
Yes, that are making meals of the guards that have fallen. So that's another element.
Yeah, this third act is so well constructed from a character standpoint and an action standpoint. It's so well done. It is absolutely perfect.
Indy, Willie, and Short Round return to the village with the rescued kids and hand the stone back to the elder. Indy says to this is why she doesn't have an arc. Indy says to Willie, now we can go to Delhi, and she gets the shit. She lays into him. She's like, you think this was fun for me? This was not fun for me. This is not a vacation for me. Like, she's exactly the same person as she was at the beginning.
You know what? You're right. I mean, I am a hopeless romantic, and I do want characters to learn as they go through the movies that they're in, but some characters stay static. And going to this conversation just made me realize how static Willie actually stays as a character.
She is, but I didn't want her to change. I thought she was fantastic some characters, you like them as they are, and you kind of don't want them to learn lessons because either they're funny or they're tough or they're vulnerable or something. They've got something where it's like, you know what? I kind of don't want you to lose that because that's the essence of your character. And the essence of Willie's character, they kept from beginning to the end, which is why this movie is so good when it comes to screenwriting. It's just they kept the essence of all the characters, and I thought that they did a really good job. Anyway, that's the last scene, and then they end up kissing, and that's it. That's the end. So I love this movie.
Yeah, this movie is fantastic, and I love the final moment when Indy and Willie kiss, and then Short Round sort of looks away. It's
Yeah.
just a really, really nice kitty moment to end the movie on.
Trivia:
Go right ahead.
Kate Capshaw was really covered in bugs for the passageway
Yeah,
scene.
of course she did. And Kate Capshaw is actually she's very at the time she was very icky with bugs and all shit like that. So in the shoot, Spielberg actually said that for like the last day because he knew that she was like terrified of all bugs and shit.
Well, she actually took sedatives before the scene because she was
Oh yeah,
panicking
that's
that
right, she
much.
did. Oh yeah, that's right, she did. I forgot that.
Nowadays, do you think that they would do that to actors nowadays? No fucking way. It would be CGI or like fake bugs. They would never put real bugs, not because they couldn't, but because the actors nowadays are prissy. They're not going to do that shit. Maybe Tom Cruise would do it, but nobody else is going to do it.
No, but listen, it takes a very special and unique actor or actress to do that. Tom Cruise will fucking do it,
Oh, he'll do it. Yeah.
but anybody else, probably not.
Yeah. So the sound of the mine car running along the tracks was actually recorded on roller coasters at Disneyland.
Oh wow, that's a cool factoid. That's an
Yeah.
awesome factoid.
I know. In the original draft, there was supposed to be a motorcycle chase across the Great Wall of China, but the Chinese government refused them permission.
Boo, that would have been cool.
So my last trivia is the three main characters were named after dogs. Short Round was the screenwriter's dog's name. Willie is Steven Spielberg's dog's name. And Indiana is George Lucas's dog's name.
Yep. I knew that I get
Go dogs!
that is
It's the coolest thing ever.
that is one of the coolest factoids about the Indiana Jones franchise. It's awesome.
I should start naming my characters after dogs. Damn it. I didn't even think of that. That's such a good idea. I love it. I love it. If you want to email us, you can email us at themixtapepod@aol.com if you want to request anything or whatever. You can subscribe to us if you like us. You can like our stuff. We've got 100 plus videos up, podcasts up, and we do different movies every single week. Coming up next week, we have a UK comedy. We are doing Hot Fuzz. So please come and join us for that. And as I say every week, if someone, let's just fucking try that edit. As I say every week, if someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.